I'm in the car with my friend Omar. Omar and I have been friends for a long time. We have baby pictures together. But Omar, for his whole life, lived in Rockwall, and I lived in Plano. So it was about 30 to 45 minutes away. So never really got to see him a lot. But some exciting news came up. Omar was going to go to the same college as I was. So we were able to hang out with each other more, and we're really excited for that. So we're in the car driving together, and Omar shares some news with me that kind of disturbed me a little bit. He says, Ali, I'm going to join Fiji. And I was like, oh man, he's like, you've lived far away from me your whole life. You're moving to Fiji now? Like, I thought I was going to see you. And I was like, oh wait, no, maybe he's talking about the water company. Like maybe he got a job at Fiji, the water company. And I was like, no, it's okay, this isn't working out. I was like, oh, what's Fiji? And he was like, Ali, I'm joining a fraternity, Fiji, at UTD. And then I was like, oh man, just like everybody else would be, any kind of Muslim who would hear the word fraternity, it's like, oh man, like, the first things that come up in our head are, alcohol, partying, naked people. Okay, if you thought of that, say astaghfirullah. But like, I was just like, oh, Islamic principles, fraternity, I don't know if you should. And he was like, no, there's a lot of benefits to it. There's, you can get friends, and, there's job opportunities that might open up down in the future. He was like, it's not that bad. And he was like, I don't really have an alternative. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like there's no Muslim fraternity, right? So it's like, and so we kind of played off that joke. We were like, what would it be called? What would the letters be? Like Alif Lam Mim. So that idea was kind of planted right there. But let's zoom out for a second. Why would Omar want to join a fraternity? Well, why would any Muslim want to join a fraternity? And I kind of alluded to it earlier. There's some really good connections that build up over time in a fraternity. Some great leaders. Martin Luther King was part of a fraternity. And just the human need of wanting to make friends. Someone like Omar, who was coming from the other side of town, was joining this new university, and he wasn't sure how many friends he was going to be able to make. He knew that if he were to join a fraternity, he would be able to make friends. And so that was something big for him. That was something huge for him. And so from that point, I realized that there was an alternative that needed to be made. There was a void that needed to be filled. There was supposed to be some kind of way for a Muslim male to live a halal, organic lifestyle that is synthesized with an organic college social experience. So to synthesize those two, an upright lifestyle and a college experience. We have to make sure that those two things can go together. We have to make sure to synthesize those things. And so the answer for that was Alif Lam Mim, the only Muslim fraternity in the country. So going over kind of what that is, as me and a few of the guys are kind of planning out what Alif Lam Mim is, what a Muslim fraternity means, we kind of thought about what problems we're tackling. And as we're thinking about it, we realized that we are addressing some of the largest Muslim principles that that are in our tradition. One of those principles is tapping into the power of youth. And so in order to discuss that issue, the power of youth and the potential of youth, let's kind of look at what our college situation is right now. Right now, at most universities, the only thing we have is the MSA. And the MSA is great. We need an MSA. We need a Muslim hub for people to go to, for Jumu'ah, for events, for interfaith events, for fastathons, for iftars. We need an MSA for those kinds of things, a Muslim hub for anybody to go to if they have questions. But the MSA is not as binding as something as a fraternity is. It doesn't bring people together as much as a fraternity does. You don't know everybody else's name in the fraternity. It's not an exclusive organization, so you can't make things mandatory upon them. It's just kind of open. We're trying to get as many people as we can. However, with the fraternity, we can move beyond the pep rally-like talks, which are necessary, and we need those. We can move beyond that to more serious development. We can move into workshops, mandatory workshops. We can move into mandatory book studies. We can move into intense volunteering and intense events and things like that that really, really tap into the potential of these young people. So that was the first thing we realized we were tackling, the first Muslim value that we were really tackling. The second one that we realized we were tackling was, of course, brotherhood, akhuwa, which that word translates straight into the word fraternity. Akhuwa translates to fraternity. And so there's this notion in Islam that success is not dependent on the self, that success involves the people around you, that the path to Jannah isn't just about going up there yourself, but pulling others with you. Like, ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. In Surah Yusuf, توَفَّنِي مُسْلِمًا وَأَلْحِقْنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ. Join me with the righteous ones. Group mentality. Like we know with the story of Imam Shafi'i, where he was arguing with a student on an issue. The student got upset, he ran away. Imam Shafi'i ran after that guy, grabbed him, and he said, don't forget about our brotherhood. So we know that brotherhood, that unity, that being involved with others is something extremely important to our religion, and that was something that we were able to develop in the fraternity. So if you know the benefits of these things, of course there's the obvious benefit that if you're working with others, it's a lot easier to improve. It's a lot easier to be vulnerable, to be open with people around you. And it's a lot easier to create movements and to start up work. That's one of the benefits of having that brotherhood. Another benefit is to have this source of volunteers, this source of brothers which the community can access if they ever need anything. So if there's a janazah, call up a few Alif Lam Mim brothers, they could take care of that. If there's something going on, some kind of event going on where they need volunteers, they call up the Alif Lam Mim brothers. If there's a masjid board that's out of hand and they need the community to rally up and to exercise, it needs to happen. Alif Lam Mim brothers are for that, to make sure that to get the other brothers in the community involved. So the Alif Lam Mim brothers are there to complete the obligatory actions of the community as a Muslim community, and also to represent Muslims in the non-Muslim to the non-Muslim community as well, namely in the fraternity scene. And the fraternity scene is something that we've been ignoring as Muslims because we've been so afraid of the word fraternity, but we've been missing out on such important things. There is so much stuff that goes on at the fraternity level because of all these important people that come out of fraternities, because of the networking that comes out of fraternities, which is another benefit of the fraternities, because as inshallah Alif Lam Mim grows and expands around the country, all of these members, as they grow up, they'll be able to network with other members and provide job opportunities for the younger members and things like that. Not only that, but when we interact with other fraternities, we may be able to interact with someone who becomes a future president, a future CEO in some other fraternity, and develop relationships that may be integral to the progress of Muslims in this country. So, moving back to the car ride with Omar. So the idea was planted. A few months later, I get together with a few brothers. I meet with Faiz Usman, one of my friends and mentors, and we start talking about it. He mentions that the co-founder, Arif Hussein, had a similar idea. So me and Arif got together. We got a few guys together. We created a shura. We started sending out invites. We had our initiation, which involved going to Fajr at the masjid. Some brothers made it, some brothers didn't. That was how we filtered out kind of who was serious. And we continued our events on, and it was something it was really nice. We started seeing quick improvements very quickly. And then something interesting happened. So we heard about a domestic violence rally that was held by men in Dallas, that was hosted by the mayor of Dallas, Mayor Rawlings. And we thought, we should go there, one, to represent Muslims and to make sure that there's clarified that Muslims do not allow domestic violence, but also because we need to represent human beings. We need to be there to show that this is a human issue, that Muslims care about this, that we shouldn't tolerate any kind of action like that. As human beings, not just as Muslims, just as human beings. So we went to the rally and we got our signs together. We said, Muslims say no to domestic violence. Muslims say yes to women's rights. Big, and we have our kufis that we wear. We have our symbol, we have our logo. So we're all decked up, we're suited up. We're standing in a line, Malcolm X style, right? So we're all there. And everybody's giving us high fives and taking pictures with us. We're like, booyah, we're going to get on local news. This is going to be our entrance into the Dallas community. Everyone's going to know about us from here, so this is it, all right? So we get interviewed by Dallas Morning News, and we're so excited, and all the local cameras are on us. We're like, this is it. That's it. It's done. Dallas is going to know about us. Dallas is going to know about us. Wake up the next morning, check the Dallas Morning News, cup of coffee, sipping it, looking through the page. And it says that there were African American, Hispanic, and Muslim communities there at the rally. So we're like, I guess that counts, right? So it says they're Muslims there. So goal accomplished, right, guys? Yeah, I was like, kind of. We were hoping, because the guy who interviewed us, he took a lot of details down. We're like, oh, he's gonna write a column about us. He's gonna write everything about us. This is it. Okay. So then we waited till the night news, and there was a corner of our kufis on, a corner of one of the guys was on there. So I guess that kind of counts. So we were like, it's okay. It's not. We didn't go there for that reason, anyways. We just thought. We just kind of hyped it. We were kind of hyped up in the moment. Everybody giving us high fives that we thought we were going to go big from there. So we uploaded a picture of us at the event, and this is subhanAllah, the magic of our age. Within days, that picture got thousands and thousands and thousands of shares. And it was viewed eventually within weeks by millions of people all around the world. Next thing you know, we're getting interviews by some student newspaper in London. ABC News is interviewing us. Upworthy made a great little tiny article on us. And next thing we know, Alif Lam Mim is not just a small group of people at UTD. We're getting asked by people at Rutgers, we're getting asked by people at Columbia, Muslims at Columbia, if they can open up the fraternity now. So Alif Lam Mim is now becoming a movement. So that was just like a little exciting story of how Alif Lam Mim is growing. And one of our mentors, Ustad Ubaidullah Evans, who was at our initiation, told us, when he heard about this, he told us that that's tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we're hoping, we're praying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts from us. But what really matters with Alif Lam Mim isn't all the jazz and isn't all the hype. What really matters with Alif Lam Mim is what we're doing with these brothers. What's happening with these brothers? What's developing with these brothers? One of the brothers who made it to Fajr at the Masjid, who's now in the fraternity, he said, I'd never been to Fajr at the Masjid in my life. There was another brother who said, that's it, 5 times a day. I'm starting to pray now. With these guys on my side, that's it. I'm getting serious now. I'm gonna start praying 5 times a day. For me personally, I grew up in a particularly difficult family situation where I couldn't really hang out. I didn't have my group of guys. Like I had friends, isolated friends here and there, but I didn't really have like my guys, like my homies. And Alif Lam Mim provided that for me. You know, people who care for me, people who text me, see how I'm doing, people who prank me. They did this like ghost sauce, hot salsa thing, prank on me as an Egyptian. I like bland food, didn't go off too well. But at the end of the day, I felt loved, by them, and that meant a lot to me. And so concluding here, there was a very important chapter in our Quran that starts with Alif Lam Mim. And hopefully as Alif Lam Mim grows and as it develops and as it helps bring light and bring an alternative to Muslim males who are struggling with their college life, who are struggling with their American identity, as it provides a solution for them, then it will also become the narrative that begins the Muslim American young story here in America. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.